Live.
Bonjour, ça va?
Good. Yeah.
Tabernacle.
Welcome to episode 34 of Gunning Around, recorded live via the interwebs in the police state formerly known as Canada, where everything's made up and freedom doesn't matter. That's right. It's all imaginary, just like the FRT. It was a pretty easy task for our Fuhrer. He simply bought off the media for the paltry sum of $600 million. And who can blame him for taking advantage of the pandemic? Once again, Gunning Around is proudly sponsored by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta. EM Precision is one of Canada's premier precision and long-range rifle builders, established in 2014. From lightweight hunting rifles and precision starter packages to extreme long-range boomers, EM Precision has the expertise to get you up and running with confidence. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and of course their website at emrifles.ca or emprifles.ca.
That's it.
There you go. That was the smoothest ad read you've ever done.
I think it is.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
I was only two beer. I'm only on my second beer, and you guys probably couldn't tell, but I got the screen about a foot from my face, and I'm like staring at the words on the show notes.
It's almost like you're taking it seriously for once.
Oh, maybe.
Well, we're waiting for our guest to log back in with video so you can see his pretty face. So we'll kind of hang out until then. We're not going to do the main topic yet, but we're in for a treat again. So, how do we get into who the hell we are? I am Sean, the CCFR Provincial Coordinator, Province of Saskatchewan Director Nominee, Regina Fish and Game League Director, CCFR Range Safety Master Learning Facilitator, Ag Equipment Service Specialist. I wish Rob was here to hear that because I'm going to rag on him for driving green shit.
You can do it again if you like.
Oh, I will the whole show.
That's true, yeah.
And I like to turn money into noise, but not so much nowadays. So, yeah,
completely understandable.
Not at least the methods that you were using a couple of weeks ago.
No AR-15 mag dumps for this guy.
Nope.
I'm not going to miss the mag dumps that you did
when I shot you.
Nothing better than shooting groups of paper, and some beautiful son of a bitch comes and sits beside you.
Just lights them
and
up.
then there's a couple extra holes in my target now. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, I'm shooting a 308, and why are there 22 caliber holes in my?
The worst part was I was shooting a 223 as well.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, that's where the problem would come.
I'm John. I'm a CCFR Field Officer, VP of Regina Fish and Game League, Project Maple Seed IIT, Firearms business owner, shameless plug from M14 Medic Firearms, hunter, and I worship at the altar of the unequal genius of John Moses Browning and Parker Otto Ackley. May they rest in peace, enveloped in the warm adoration of generations of firearms nerds yet to come.
Oh, speaking of, look what you gave me today.
Hey there.
Parker O. Ackley, Handbook for Shooters and Reloaders. Look at that.
I'm not sure if you can call yourself a rifle loony unless you've at least read that book, if not owned 2 copies.
Wait, do you own 2?
No.
Oh, why you wrote your name in it?
Yeah. I started doing that when I started lending books because seldom the books would come back.
Yeah, no kidding.
But he's got volume 1 and volume 2. You got volume 1. I'm not sure where volume 2 is.
Interesting. Speaking of who are you?
Sorry, before I get into that, I just saw in the feed Russ Nodder says, "Hey guts." Who's he referring to? I want to believe that's not a typo.
That might be a T was supposed to be a Y.
Yeah,
the T and the Y are right beside each other.
I know. It's funner with guts, though. Rather than guys, yeah. All right, everybody. I'm Rooster. I'm a CCFR field officer. I'm a hand loading and wildcatting nerd, and I like the long-range precision rifle stuff. I hunt when I can. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot to say. Pretty shallow pool.
You're the only pro gun podcast right now with a beard, by the way. That's not counting this thing. You.
Oh.
Trevor shaved his off. Trevor shaved his beard off this morning. He looks like a baby.
this morning. So, when did you talk to Trevor this morning?
He posted it on Facebook this morning.
Oh, he just saw it. He's got a teddy cam in Trevor's house.
I guess Andrew still has a beard though.
Nanny cam.
That's right. On their podcast, Trevor was saying that they're opening up barber shops, and he was going to go for the full mani pedi treatment.
Yeah.
So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to fit right in at University of New Brunswick. So anyway, cool. Where
Cliff
can we find this?
Hey, from the bear stand. What the heck? He must be hunting
Cliff,
bears.
President of the Regina Wildlife Federation. Up hunting bear up in northern Saskatchewan. What's up, dude?
The competition.
There you
go. Visit us at www.facebook.com/gunningaround and leave a review to let us know how we're doing. Also, if you like the content, please leave us a like on the page and share so we can spread the wealth. You can also email the show at info@gunningaround.com with any questions, discussion points, or future topic ideas you want to hear about. Check us out on the web. No, I didn't do that right. www.gunningaround.com. Gunningaround.com. We have some improvements coming. Mainly, there's no super secret stuff coming anymore, but there has been a couple of little things changed. We got an e-store now and all that kind of good stuff, and we're adding content on the website periodically, and we're currently lurking on our next devious plan for the website, which we might change that red to green, maybe. No, I'm not changing. I like the red.
It means you're ovulating.
Speaking of what it is, if you've had the week that we've had, why don't you go and enjoy some Churchill Brewing Company Plainsman Pilsner? Look at that.
I think that'd be a great idea. I just happen to have some myself.
Oh, wait, John, do you happen to have some too? It's like madness.
My goodness.
Yeah. It's like we have a liquor sponsor. Yeah. So, for those of you who care, because you should, because they sponsor our show, tonight's beverage is the Churchill Plainsman Pilsner. We are currently brought to you by Churchill Brewing Company. Well, not brought to you. Our liquor is brought to us by Churchill Brewing Company, brewed right in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the Bridge City, Canada. This is what I'm screwed up. Using only the best base malt barley in the world, grown right in Saskabush. Churchill Brewing seeks to introduce the non-craft beer world to a beer that is consistent, clean, crisp, and homegrown. Ticking those boxes. Yep. Yet it still retains the flavor that craft beer lovers can appreciate.
Yes, folks, it's that easy.
Coming at ya. Sunday.
It's actually a decent beer, too.
It is.
This is the beer that I cracked when I first got it, because I'm like, I have to try it.
I know. Nancy and I did, too. I only have one left, actually.
Oh. Well, here, I can lend you one. No, I'm not going to lend you one of mine yet.
Do the Star Wars thing where they put the lightsaber behind the back, and Kurt's like, oh, nice. Hello, mate. Find Churchill Brewing Company at www.churchillbrewing.com. There you go.
Excellent.
This is actually probably the best Pilsner I've ever had.
It is very much like it. It has that. It's a distinct Pilsner, but it is not quite as offensive as some.
Like
it's good. I like
Saskatchewan champagne. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this it's fairly smooth. It's got a very mild flavor.
Yeah.
But it's a really good. It's probably like I said, the best Pilsner I've ever had.
And it doesn't give you that immediate feeling when you take that sip that, oh God, I'm gonna pay for this in the morning.
Yeah. 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 It doesn't kick your tonsils on the way down. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I would buy this.
And your colon.
Well, this absolutely. And that Blue Moon copy, the whatever it was called, the Belgian citrus.
The Belgian white?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever buy the Belgian white but I would buy this for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did we have last week?
Oh God, we gotta look. I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. It wasn't bad either. I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
No. Everything we've had so far is pretty phenomenal, but this is above and beyond my favorite so far.
Mm-hmm.
So. Cool.
Do you want to read that, Sean?
Rob has a question. We should probably go over it.
That's my here. I'll take this. My 375 snipe tack is over the jewel limit. Do any of you know if anyone manufactures a 408 Shy-Tac cartridge neck down to 338? If so, where?
That I believe is a hand loader proposition only.
You're going to have to order a Reamer, I would think, or find somebody that's going to order a Reamer for you.
Yeah. Well, I just happen to know someone who has a Reamer. I'm certain that Steve and Shane have a Reamer for that, for both the 375 and 338 snipe tack. I know Steve has had both of those cartridges spun up.
It's the 338 Allen. It's the cartridge is called the 338 Allen.
Which cartridge is that?
The 408 Shay-Tac neck down to 338 is called the 338 Allen.
Oh, so the 338 snipe tack must be just a bit of a different, improved twist on that, maybe.
I don't know. It's apparently it's the 408 Shy-Tac neck down to 338. The super size. Hold on a second. I'll click the link. I'll look at it.
Aren't the Allen are you talking the Allen Magnums that were developed in Canada?
What cartridge would your choice? Ace competitive shooter Daryl Buell. The answer is a 338 Allen Mag, a 408 Shy-Tac neck down to 338. This supersized cartridge flings 338 caliber, 300 grain Burger hybrid bullets at 3450. Son of a biscuit. That's going to be like an 800 to 1,000 round tube, and then she's pop done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, here you go.
Speaking of pop and done, I'm just kidding. Rob Sharkey joins
All right.
Sorry. How's that for a transition?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
You'll notice his audio is a little cleaner than ours. That's because he's a professional.
No, I'm using my old the blue snowball. I had to break this thing out. That's what took me so long. Sorry, I'm a little late.
There you go.
And he's got waffle thingies on his walls that we don't have. I just have my liberal, 0% liberal sign in the back. Which, I mean, man, I should post that all over this room. That would be great, wouldn't it?
They sell it on eBay. You'll be fine. You know, guys, I know this is your podcast, but seriously, I mean, when I was told that I could be on here, I wasn't aware that I wasn't going to have the best beard, and that's kind of annoying me.
You just got to be better. That's all. I mean, you know. Nothing personal.
He's been working on that beard long before he was a podcaster.
I've been working on this beard since I was 6 years old.
It's a good looking beard. It's a good looking beard.
Shucks, thanks. Appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, should we move on here?
Yeah.
Serving the Canadian gun industry since 2016, M14 Medic Firearms specializes in M14 pattern rifles as well as Garand rifles. In light of recent changes to the classification of the M14 family of firearms, M14 Medic will be taking a break from ranching on M14s, but is still working on Garands. The website store is up, and we're adding new products every day. Come visit the website at m14medic.ca.
You bet. Buy his shit. He needs it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The bank needs the interest note paid.
Mm-hmm. All right. So how about we formally introduce our guest now? We take this opportunity.
Yeah, so I decided to bring Rob Sharkey on of the Shark Farmer Radio podcast and Shark Farmer TV because I knew of Rob. I used to work for a company called Farmer's Edge, and Rob used to be sponsored by them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got introduced to Rob. Well, I never met you face to face, Rob, but we would always, I'd always grind your gears for whatever on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. And so that's how I got introduced to Rob. And then I started diving in more and listening to his episodes and stuff. And he runs an outfitting business in Illinois. Also farms, how many acres again?
About 2,000.
Yeah, so a decent sized farm for Illinois. Not like these Saskatchewan farms, but anyway.
Yeah.
And he drives the wrong color of equipment too.
Well, oh, come on, man!
Already, hey?
Come on.
But no, so I decided to reach out to Rob because we needed to get some insight, just from his perspective on what's going on in the U.S. and kind of have a discussion about the ban that went on in Canada here. So thanks, Rob. I appreciate you coming on, man. Why don't you tell us a little more about yourself?
Like you said, I farm corn and soybeans. That's really the only thing we grow down here. I am from the state of Illinois, which has the strictest gun laws in the nation.
Well, outside of California, though, right?
No, actually, we are stricter. We have to have it's called a FOID, Firearms Identification Card, even to buy ammunition. We don't have restrictions on magazine size, which I think California might have. Now I think that's what it is. But yes, so concealed carry, the state NRA had to go to the Supreme Court, and we do have concealed carry for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years. But it's so damn restricted that, basically any city, it's hard to get into. So I can conceal carry something out here in the country, which we always did anyway. So
yeah.
Well, and I worked for a company out of El Paso, Illinois for a while. And that's what got me kind of into Illinois gun laws was, the FOI card. And then the restrictions. Are there any gun stores in the city? I guess you could call it shitty. But the city of Chicago.
I don't think so. I can't say for sure, but no, I do not think so.
Craziness, and that's kind of the route we're going, but on a national level. I think that's sort of the end game for our current government. But anyway, So what else do? You farm? You outfit?
Yes. In a few years ago, I started a podcast, a farmer podcast. It kind of took off. It led to an XM radio show that I do Monday through Friday. And that kind of led to a TV show, which I now do on RFD, which is on Dish and direct down in the States. I know it's kind of spotty I think it's in Ontario, but other than that, I'm not sure it's up in Canada.
Yeah, we don't have the TV freedom that you guys have. Us Canuckistanese, we're kind of restricted to the CBC, and that's pretty much it. Right on. So your podcast is doing pretty well, hey?
Yeah, it's done very well. I don't even know. The best thing is it's an interview podcast, so I just talk to people in agriculture. So it's not just me running off the head every week, which I think has led to its success, is that I've actually just putting other people on there.
Yeah. And even looking at you've had a couple of gun guys. More importantly, you had Cam from Cam & Company from the NRA come on. That was a highlight of mine. I listened to that episode a few times.
Yeah, we tried to get people from agriculture maybe to look outside of our bubble every once in a while. Cam was a great guest.
Yeah, no, definitely. Cool. So how's the TV show going?
It's I think the 6th episode is all. We've had it out. We have got picked up for the 2nd season already, so I guess it's not doing horrible.
You're doing all right. Yeah.
No kidding. Better than our TV show anyway.
We'll see after next weekend.
You're on
it. Cool. So that's going well. You got renewed for a second season. Any insight to the 2nd season, or?
Not really. They did increase the budget a little bit, so we're going to be able to do maybe a little bit more interviewing outside of it. It's like I don't know. Do you guys get the Comedy Channel up there, like Tosh.0?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I totally stole his format. Totally stole it. 100%. But they said, we love the idea, but you can't be dirty and you can't be mean. So I don't know if it's really even Tosh anymore.
You can't be mean. No,
like
what fun is that?
Versus Saturday Night Live or something.
That's
Well, that's crazy, man. So you went from a farmer and outfitter to a podcaster, and now you're a TV star.
No, I have a TV show. There's a big difference between TV show and TV star, like big difference.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let's kind of dive into your outfitting business. So, do you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, it started in 1999. I had made major mistakes. I just started farming, and I went into hogs, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy. So I was looking for different sources of income. We've got good deer here. That's one thing here in Illinois. We've got good white-tailed deer. So I was running a buying cooperative at a time. So I had like 70 farmers in a group, and I would talk to them all the time, and they knew I deer hunted, and they were like, I wish someone would come shoot my deer because I can't really trust anybody to go on my ground. So that's how it kind of got all started. And in 99, we had, the timing was perfect because in the late 90s, Illinois was the end all be all for like the outdoor channels and all this. I mean, Illinois was the spot to hunt. So we put an ad in a magazine, and I mean, I had like 100 phone calls in 1 month. It was crazy. So I just lined them up. I didn't know any better. And man, I had a bunch of jack wagons come. I mean, just jerks, didn't know what they were doing. I know they were out there screwing around and doing whatever.
You can say fuckheads on this show,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We're pretty wide open.
Yeah.
That's why we record at 9:30 p.m.
Just call it jackwagon or jackwagon already.
We'd given up on it. I was in bed. It was 4:00 in the morning, and we were putting guys in a farmhouse about 2 miles away. And a guy calls at 4 a.m. and he says, "Hey, my wife got me these new hunting boots, and I can't get them on. Can you come over and help me?"
Oh no, fucking me.
Yeah. And it dawned on me that this guy was wanting me to put his. Oh shoot.
What?
Oh, I completely. Did I lose you guys?
No, I can hear you. Are you there?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it dawned on me that these guys were not the type we wanted. And I told my wife, I was like, this is it. We're done. I'm not going to do this again. We had 4 more guys, and that was it. The next 4 guys that came were fantastic. They were just exactly what we wanted. So when they left, I said, "I'm sorry, we're not going to do this again." They called and like the next week, and they said, "Hey, if we bring people like us, would you try it one more year?" And that was 20 years ago, and we're still rolling today.
Yeah, you can't let a few jack wagons, if you were, ruin your love of the the love of the business and that sort of thing. And you know what? Like, I wouldn't even put on John's boots, let alone some random.
It was 4 in the morning. It took me a while to figure out what he was saying.
I can't even imagine how that conversation would go. Like, hey, can you come tie my fucking boots up because I'm an idiot?
Well, just a second. Let me wake your mother.
It's like when you got your kid down at the rink and he's 5 years old and you have to tie up his skates for him, right? Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
he was a real big guy, and I don't know if he can bend over. I don't know what the deal is, but at 4 in the morning, I had zero sympathy for anybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I used to guide in the Yukon and northern Saskatchewan, and I'd had some fairly needy guys, but that is way beyond anything I'd ever encountered. That's crazy.
Wow.
My boots.
So
here's some slippers, jackass.
In a good year, how many people do you guide?
We were running 40 to 50 when this thing started taking off with the shark farmer, and my wife and I were doing a lot of traveling. We had talked about even shutting it down, even though we were perpetually booked. just because of the time. And we were actually having that conversation. We were driving out to Nebraska, and one of the hunters calls. He said, "Hey, I'm going to run this crazy idea by you. What if our group subleases the entire thing? What if we pay for the entire thing, and then you won't have to do much, you know? We'll take care of ourselves, this, that, and the other." So that's what we've done. Last year was the first year that we did that.
Mm-hmm. That's a fairly sweet deal.
So is that basically just giving them a place to sleep, and they guide themselves and everything else like that? Like they get use your permissions and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have to do nothing with them, like that thing? Or
well, I mean, you know, at this point, these guys are like my best friends, so I'm going to screw with them every chance I can. So no, they don't get a free pass. Yeah.
So how does that go down there? Like, as an outfitter, do you have to have your own land, or can you get on to other private land, or does it have to be on Crown land? How does that work for your operation?
I can, well, we lease other private ground. You know, I've got a couple fields that we own that are decent for hunting. But then the rest is leased ground. So I do have to get a permit from the state. But what Illinois really does to you, it's $600. I mean, by the time you said and come and done, $600 for archery. And then if these guys have leased for the whole year, so they want to come shotgun too, because there's no rifle, it's just slug gun. So, I mean, you're talking over $1,000 just in permits.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So
I thought it was steep here for 125 for a Canadian resident tag in Saskatchewan. Like,
is it still only 125?
Yeah. It's a draw tag now, but it's, from what I understand, they don't have any applicants left at the end of the draw. So
right.
I don't know why they went that way.
So you're in Illinois. Can you kind of specify whereabouts?
2 hours southwest of Chicago.
Oh, so like Champaign, or is that Peoria?
No, hour north of Peoria.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still Interstate 80. I'm just south of that. It's technically maybe still northern Illinois, but I'm on the southern half of it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
The southern half of northern Illinois.
I made that way more confusing than I thought. Yes.
On purpose, I'll bet too.
I feel really bad. I wish I would have put some guns up. I listen to your podcast, but I've never seen the audio of it. So I'm sorry, the visual of it. I would have put some guns up.
Oh well, next time.
Yeah, next time. Yeah.
Doug Rodenbush has a question here. Where did the moniker Shark Farmer come from? I thought it would be pretty obvious, but go ahead.
Well, it's just my last name's Sharkey. I'm a farmer. That's literally where it came from. Yeah.
No, Doug literally farms sharks.
I get that all the time.
I told my wife that we had Shark Farmer on time. She's like, "What?" I said, "Shark Farmer. His last name's Sharkey, and he's a farm." She's like, "Oh, I thought he meant like he farmed sharks." And I'm like, "Who the fuck farms sharks?"
That's right, dear.
Japanese farm sharks. Cool. Well, being that this is a firearm-centric podcast, and being that you're in the United States, albeit in one of the most restrictive states in the union, you know, I've always thought that firearms and ag are just intertwined. They're just meshed together, and they're more so a tool, especially being in the hog business or cattle business. A firearm is more of a tool than it is a weapon. And can you kind of elaborate on that? Is that the case for you, or?
Well, you know, growing up, my dad had the standards, right? We had a 22, we had a 223, we had a shotgun. Yeah. And that's it. And then, you know, I've got a bit of a problem. I like to buy guns. I like to look at them. I like to shoot them. And so, yeah, I've got a lot more guns than I would really need farming. But, hey, you better be safe than sorry, right?
No kidding. So, like, when you're out, you know, planting or whatever, you got an AR in the cab with you, or what do you do?
No, that would be illegal. So I would never, ever, 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 ever put an AR in my mount there that I put in the tractor for an AR-15. Never.
Fair enough. So can you? Okay, so you said it's illegal. Is it the same as Canada, where you can only go to the range and back with your AR, or now you can't even go to the range and back at all now because the AR has been prohibited?
I mean, I could have an AR in the tractor in a case. I could have a cased, but no, if by chance, and it would never happen, but if a game warden would come up and I was in a tractor and I've got the mount there and the AR is there, still probably wouldn't give me a ticket, but technically it would be a felony.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Okay. Well, technically.
So would you agree with what I said, that firearms are more of a tool in ag than a weapon, or what would you?
I don't know how you could be out in a rural setting without a gun. Personally, I don't know. It was 2 nights ago. My mom calls me. She lives a mile up the road. She's like, "There's a raccoon in the damn house." I mean, I don't know what you do without a gun. You go hit it with a fly swatter or some damn thing.
You take out your buck knife and you sharpen a stick, and then you shove it directly up its asshole.
This coon was pissed. No, there was none of that.
See, the extent of my experience hunting raccoons is from the passenger seat of an F-150 with a 410 pump shotgun. But there may or may not have been
who's in the back playing the banjo.
I don't know. There may or may not have been some tracks across that farmer's summer fallow field, but that's all. We'll stop there.
We frown on that.
We don't.
No, we don't.
But honestly, I've got a lever action Colt 45. That's my go-to for everything. It's because it's more than a 22, but yet it's not loud. It's pretty quiet. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one I took up to shoot the raccoon in my mom's bathroom. I mean, it's just kind of the go-to.
In the house?
Oh, my God.
Mama, get the shovel. The gator's in the house again.
Mama, it had wedged itself behind her toilet, and she's screaming, "I don't care what you shoot. Just get rid of it. I don't care what Mom, I'm going to shoot your toilet. I don't give a damn. Shoot the raccoon."
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
Oh God! And again, banjo music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's drill down a little bit here. So, what exactly do you have in a lever gun for 45?
Come on, man! It's what I did is I had a buddy got married, and I'm like, what is the coolest gift that you could get him? So I was gonna get him a gun. And so we had the lever action, and I think I don't remember if his was a 45 or not. But then I took it to a trophy place that engraves trophies, and I had a deer head, and I actually took the picture of the deer that he shot, and then put it in graphic silhouette, and then put his name there and his wife and the year they got married. Nice. Coolest damn gift.
Yeah,
I wish one day somebody would give me a gift like that. But then I bought 2 guns, just one for myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of I have a Rossi ranch hand with a 12-inch barrel, and I put a full-length buttstock on it.
Yeah, now that you said it.
And I've got mine hot rodded up pretty good. I read an article online. I went, you know what? You're right. These things can take a lot more pressure than a 45 Colt. So I've got a fairly, I don't know. I wouldn't shoot it in an old revolver. I'll just put it that way. The darn thing might come apart. But I keep it in the camper as my Black Bear defense gun, if that makes any sense. So
because that's a thing in Canada, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of the 45 Colt cartridge, and I think it's one of those really underrated cartridges as far as if you're a hand loader, especially. But
it's quiet. Yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah, well,
I think John probably isn't quiet.
Well, depends on which load I'm putting it through there, but
right.
Yeah, but it's subsonic in a standard load. It's a subsonic cartridge, and it's nice and quiet. You can shoot it without any ear pro, and it's not going to make you go deaf. And
yeah,
it really packs a wallop, especially if you're loading some 350 grain flat noses in there. So, but yeah.
It's a lot better shooting it in a bathroom than say a 45-70.
Well,
not a fun night. No.
45-70 is a lightweight compared to the 45 Colt, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there you go. Says the guy with the best mustache on the podcast.
Yeah. My wife lovingly looked at me and said, "You know, it looks like a 70s porn star stash, John." I don't think she was wrong. I keep touching it.
I would take that
because my itches, my lips itchy.
So, Rob, with you being in Illinois, do you find, because like you said, you can only hunt deer with a slug gun or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you find there's a pretty big urban-rural divide in your state?
Oh, huge urban-rural divide. Yeah. I mean, let's just throw out Chicago because they are an entity among themselves. It's a backwards, crooked city. But even let's take like Peoria. There's just such a divide between rural and urban, and the understanding of what it's like out here. Mm-hmm. To where, if the coyotes are eating my cats, you don't call pest control, that type of thing. It's just, I think people just have to live out in a rural setting to really understand it.
Okay. Like I spent some time in Bloomington as well, Bloomington Normal. And even just going 5 minutes outside of there, heading up to Kappa, don't judge. Kappa or that's an insider joke. Yeah.
Whoa. Kappa is a strip. So I've heard. Kappa is a strip club where you can often see stab and bullet wounds on the dancers.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's put it this way. So
they've healed though, right? They're not like fresh. They're not like still dripping and stuff, right? It's,
depends on the night.
Two drink minimum, and you go in there. They'll pick you up at the hotel. You call them for a shuttle. They'll pick you up, take you there, and they scan your ID and take a photo of you as you enter the club. And so I've got a Saskatchewan ID, driver's license. They look at it. They turn around, open up a cabinet on the wall. And there's a list of banned people from the club. Three of them
Roadhouse.
yeah. So
hey, I know that guy.
This looks like, nope. Okay, you're good.
Y'all ain't from around here, are you?
There was literally a 1 in a million chance.
Yeah,
sorry, 3 in a million.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience at the Kappa club. But even that's 20 minutes out north of Bloomington Normal. And even going through there's, you leave the greater Normal Bloomington area and there's cornfields and soy and bean fields everywhere you look. But then you go to Bloomington Normal and crack. Oh, I know that sound. That's a 9mm. Or, oh, that's a 45 ACP. Or, yeah. It's like, yeah, it was quite a culture, change for me coming from even Regina, Saskatchewan. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. It smells like it sounds too, by the way.
City of the Rams for fun.
Yeah. But even coming from Regina, where we statistically have a pretty high crime rate, we don't have shootings like that. We have guys, or let's not even call them guys. Let's call them, shitbags that'll take a Ruger 10-22. They'll cut it off at the stock and then slice off the butt stock and use that in a drive-by. And but that they stole or whatever from somebody. We don't see a lot of pistol violence or anything like that here. It's more so just, stolen hunting rifles or single shot cooies or whatever. And but then I go to Bloomington Normal, it's like crack. Oh, there you go. That's a 9mm Luger. Okay, I know that sound. Yeah. It's like, and that's a real occurrence down there, which is crazy. And it was a huge cultural experience when I first went down there. So anyway,
I was gonna say a while back when you're asking Rob where precisely he was from, and you said about 2.5 hours south of Chicago, I'm thinking, is that far enough? God,
we're out of range. Yeah. No, I mean,
out of range.
Is really, really rural. I mean, besides my mom, I've got neighbors that are probably mile and a half away. So it's very rural out here. The closest town is, I think, 400 people. But yeah, you're dealing with politics. You're dealing with the lack of crime control. I mean, when you have Chicago having a higher murder rate than Iraq, than Baghdad, I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. And they blame the gun laws. They've got the strictest gun laws in the country, and it's frustrating for someone out here in the rural part of the state that has to deal with the rules that are made up for Chicago.
Yeah. Well,
I think that urban-rural divide, I think, exists pretty much no matter where you go.
Yeah.
In North America or even South America, for that matter, that urban and rural divide, I think, exists. It's a thing, right? So, anyways, sorry, I interrupted like 3 people talking at once.
I know.
We're having a great conversation. This is awesome. Kurt, what were you going to ask?
I was just wondering if there are any new things coming down the pipe in Illinois, similar to what's going on in Virginia and that. Like it all seems to be in flux. I'm not familiar with anything really going on in your state, but is there any proposed changes and shit like that?
It's constantly threatened. Magazine size, the tactical, whatever. I guess any gun that's colored black, or it's frustrating stuff like that, because you have people that don't understand guns at all that want to write the laws for guns, and it's asinine some of the things they want to do. Everything has to be for hunting, right? They just want to make everything, they just want to make bows legal, just do away with all guns or whatever, and they don't even understand the significance of shotguns for the deer population and that. So it's constant every single year. I think the 30 round clip gets brought up. Every year it does seem to get voted down for some reason. And so it's always there. It always will be there until the state probably goes bankrupt, and maybe we will kind of hit the reset button. I hate that that's what it's come to, but something has to give here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you assume so, but then look at us. Whereas we banned, the liberal government, and it's a little different for politics up here, but the minority power liberal government banned the AR-15, the M14, the VZ CZ 858, or is VZ for you Americans, CZ for you Americans. What else? Like a whole plethora.
The AR-10, the platform.
Anything with a bore over 20 millimeters. So a 12 gauge threaded for chokes. When you take those, the majority of them, when you take the threaded choke out, will be between 20.2 and 20.5 millimeter. So that's technically banned. What else? Like it was insane. They banned AR-15.com. They banned an airsoft rifle. They banned Mossberg 715-22. Because you can wrap it in plastic that makes it
just the 715T, because it's got the plastic AR-15 looking shell.
Just that, or was it the whole platform?
No. The 715.
Okay,
still non-restricted, but the 715T is prohibited.
So
what if you have like an old Mini 14? I mean, does it get that specific?
It's gone. Yeah.
Mini 14.
Mini 14. The Mini 14 family, the M14 family, the AR-15 family, the AR-10 family, the CZ 858 family, the Swiss Arms 4 Seasons family of firearms as well. So that would be like your Swiss Arms Classic Green, Black Special, all that kind of stuff, right? So there was, I think it was nine parents, if you want to call it that, like the
and 1,500
families
total models of firearms, and then they're adding. So we have something in Canada called the Firearm Reference Table, or FRT for short, which is a database that the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, use to log every firearm imported into Canada. And
if it's offered for sale to civilians, it's got an FRT number, like to register in the database. There's over 90,000 entries in the FRT table. So,
and they're updating that daily now because our government last year passed a bill to allow the RCMP to basically, with the stroke of a pen, prohibit anything they like. So it's been quite a battle, and unfortunately, we don't have the same power that the NRA has in the United States to combat these egregious laws. Especially for 2.2 million registered firearm owners in Canada.
Out of what total population?
33 million.
Right. So,
but still, 2.2 million.
How many people are in the U.S.? What's the population of the U.S. right now? 335, 340,
something like that.
Yeah.
But still, so this dropped May 1st, and guys like me, guys like John, that's going to hurt us quite a bit because, like me personally, I have multiple AR-15s. I have a couple M14s. John has tens of thousands of dollars, closing on hundreds of thousands of dollars in parts and firearms.
Not quite that bad, but yeah.
Close.
It's bad enough, John.
So, and John's business, like John works for a corporation in Saskatchewan here, but he does it on the side, and he's been personally affected. Like, how is he going to pay this line of credit or whatever, right? And that's just him. That's not the various gun shops that are affected that mainly specialized in tactical or 3-gun or whatever. And it's a shit sandwich, dude, and we're eating it for sure.
Yeah.
So,
hey, on the plus side, we do have some things going on the legal side of things that might change that. So we'll see what happens, I guess. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel, maybe.
Listening to one of your older podcasts, and it seemed like it was common knowledge that, like, everybody in the U.S. has an AR, that everyone in Canada has an SKS. Is that true?
Yes,
not wrong.
Yeah. Well, you think of all the people in the U.S. that own firearms, and I'm sure you can probably count one or two that personally that own firearms that don't own an AR-15.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can.
God bless.
It's the same way in Canada. Like, if all the people that have firearms, I can think of maybe like all the people I know that own firearms. I can think maybe 3 or 4 that don't have an SKS. So it's like let's face it. When you like in the mid 90s. In the early 90s, I want to say, late 90s, SKSs weren't very common in Canada. When they were first hitting Canada, they were still able to be imported into the U.S. because it was before Clinton passed his 94 ban. It was after the end of Soviet Russia and communism, it was hard to find an SKS in Canada for less than $800, right? Now, when I got my first SKS, I bought it because I already had 9 crates of ammo because the price was just too cheap to pass up on the ammo. And I bought my first one for $169, and I think that included shipping from Ontario to Saskatchewan. So, they were cheap. So everybody's got 1, 2, or 3. So it's like Oscar says here in the chat, it says at one point you could buy 5 SKSs and 5 crates of ammo for $1,000 total. Now, were those 1,200 or 1,400 round crates, Oscar?
Regardless.
Yeah.
I like the question. The thing is, though, that Jim Hale was just on there, and he's a guy that I've met up in Canada when I was up there. He doesn't listen to my podcast, but here he is listening to your guys as well. Thanks a lot.
I told Jim, I said, Jim, because I'm a director of the former director / new nominated director for the CCFR, which is the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights, which is we've been called by the Liberal Party of Canada, Canada's NRA. So I told Jim, I said, Jim, you're going to be a field officer of mine. And he's like, do I have a choice? I said, no.
Well, I did some quick gazintas there, and apparently 1.5% of firearms owners in the U.S. 1.5% of the population of the United States of America is a member of the NRA. Yeah. In Canada, it's 0.12% of the population has a membership in the CCFR, and that's the reason why the CCFR doesn't have the same political clout when it comes to dealing with our politicians in the capital, right? It's just it's a simple matter of numbers, right? If you can, they are, and like it's and I don't think a lot of people realize that the reason why the NRA has as much clout as it does isn't because they're the NRA. It's because there's over 5 million members that are just regular citizens of the U.S. that have bought a membership to the NRA. Like that's why. Whatever. Exactly. Well, just having a membership is a number. That means you're standing up and willing to be counted, right? You know what I mean? It's there's strength in numbers, and that's I think what Canadian gun owners need to learn is that the reason why the NRA is powerful in the States is because they have 1.5% of the population as a member. If we had 1.5% of the population a member of any single gun org in Canada, that gun org would have a pretty heavy stick to swing around when dealing with politicians on Capitol Hill, right? That's just how it is, right? So,
and we harp every episode, join every organization you can. If you can't, let us know and we'll see if we can help. But anyway, but then back to the SKS question you had, Rob. So we can also get Norinco firearms, Chinese firearms, which don't get that crazy, but like this guy here, just for all you gun Nazis, this is a gun safe, nothing in it. Okay, this is a Norinco NP22, which is a SIG 226 copy in 9mm Luger. This gun cost me shipped to my door $425.
Which is 22.
No, it's a 9mm.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
All right. The Chinese call it an NP22, and it's a SIG 226 copy.
Okay.
So the funny story is that Sean paid in Canadian dollars for that Chinese pistol, what you would pay in American dollars for a real SIG 226.
Yeah.
That's not funny at all.
Like, you can definitely tell that this is a Norinco, not just by the markings on it, but like the underside, you can see the tool marks. Like it was made for a bowl of rice by a Chinese high schooler. So anyway, but it shoots like a hot damn. It's fed everything that I've given it. So anyway, but like this gun, you guys cannot get because Polytech Norinco tried to sell rocket launchers to the Crips in Los Angeles. So yeah, fun times. Anyway. Awesome. So what else do we got here? See, how's the XM show going?
XM show's going good. I think we're probably going to have some changes coming up. Going to work more directly with RFD, who owns the station. So we're excited, nervous about that. Means we got to go out and get our own sponsors. And we don't have an alcoholic sponsor yet. Thanks, guys.
Get on it. You do better.
You got to hit up your local microbreweries. That's what you got to do.
That's right. Yeah, the small desperate guys.
I've been asked before what my favorite gun is randomly, and now you guys can't laugh, right? Because my favorite
no judgment here.
My favorite gun is
totally going to judge you. What are you talking about?
The nose in the gun. That's my favorite gun, and I'll tell you why. It's because when my sons were getting into it, my oldest was shooting, and then my number 3 was just getting into it, and we bought 3 of them together because they were $100 a piece. These whole things were all gooked up or whatever, and that's what we shot. We bought the whole cans of ammo and just shot them. The 3 of us had them out there. We were open sight shooting out at 1,000 yards, shooting at disc blades like that. It was like the most fun I've ever had shooting with my boys and all that. So to this day, my favorite gun still the old Russian Mosin Nagant.
Nice.
The Colt.
Sean, you got yours handy?
I can get it.
I've got one. Here he goes.
Ooh, show and tell.
We're a bunch of redneck motherfuckers up here, I'll tell you that.
Hey, there was something a while back. Oh,
what's that?
Daniel. Daniel says he was just in Cabela's today in Edmonton. Any tactical looking firearms besides handguns are gone. Is Cabela's in the States following this political stand as well?
The only one I've been in
not
Bass Pro Shop, and I would say no. They still had they still pretty much had everything. There it is.
Locally known as the garbage rod.
Where's the bayonet?
Lovingly referred to as.
Well, the bayonet is prohibited.
Yeah, that's great.
I got one. Yeah, this thing is awesome. I personally love it. The trigger group kind of sucks, but it'll go bang every time.
It hurts the shoulder. After a while, the whole man. And the ear.
So but no, this one's a little I got this given to me as a Christmas present 2 years ago from my father. So funny you say that. So anyway. Yeah. So you're on XM. What channel? 147?
Channel 147. Sean Haney's channel. Yep.
Cool. And that's a PhD.
Right now our show, it's the Shark Farmer radio show. It's run through Egg PhD. Like I said, we're probably going to change that coming up midsummer. So it's fun to kind of see it evolve in that, but a little nervous too.
Well, of course, any changes are So, I think we've kind of ran through what you got.
No, I've said my favorite gun. I mean, I think it's only
you show me, I'll show you yours. That sounds good. John?
Well, I think it's got to be an M14, I guess. Yeah. It's pretty boring.
Of course.
Prohibited now.
It's not boring at all. Which one?
Yeah. Which one, John?
Oh.
What's your favorite one you got?
Oh man, you're gonna make me pick one now. It's like asking me which kid's my favorite. Every M14 I own, I probably have at least 8 hours of labor into, and lots and lots of money into. I don't know. I'd say my go-to is probably number one, I guess. 17001. So that's
your own receiver, right?
Yeah. M14 Medic Firearms branded receiver, SAK barrel, 22-inch TRW parts, GI parts, and a TRW trigger group, TRW hammer. Everything that's marked is marked TRW, all GI parts, M14 Medic Firearms receiver, GI fiberglass stock. So yeah. It's been skim bedded, selector holes filled, skim bedded. It's pimped out pretty nice. It's just a nice rifle. So,
Kurt,
yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm the precision rifle guy. I have several good ones. I have a Surgeon Action that I think is just fantastic. But you know what? For all-around use and long-time possession, I have an old, I'm not sure exactly what year it is, but it's an old Remington 700 280, and it was made somewhere between 1979 and 1981 because it has 7mm Remington Express stamped on the barrel.
Oh, wow.
That old 700 BDL, between that and an old Parker Hale 243 that still lives at the farm with my dad, those things have killed more stuff than God, and they shoulder and swing like they were made to kill stuff. I love my my long range precision rifles, but like I say, for all around, pick it up, do any damn thing you need. It's got to be that 700 280.
Yeah. Well, funny you mentioned that, Kurt. My go-to is my Parker Hale Mauser action in 270 Winchester. I love that thing. That's what I shot my first deer with, and that's what I'm going to shoot my last deer with. So
yeah. It's you know what? That's a great platform. I'm sorry about the caliber. Dick.
So Luke says, let's see some September 22. This is when I just finished up for my son. He's 10. So this is a factory wood stock that I'm pretty sure you can see the line here or here. Mm-hmm. I added 1.25 inches to the front of the wrist, so when he grips the rifle, he can actually get his hand in there to pull the trigger. It's a youth model, and I also had to chop off the youth model stock. They shorten the stock, but they don't shorten the wrist, right? So for small kids, that's a big deal. This was gonna be his maple seed rifle for this year. It looks like this year is gonna be a bust. Maybe he'll get to use it next year. He might be too big for it next year, and that's okay too, I guess. Because if my kid's not going to use it, I'm sure Sean's kid will. But this is just a 10-22, 16-inch barrel.
What optics?
You're aware of what? That is a Vortex rimfire 2-7. So, I'm Mr. Sharkey. I'm sure you're aware of Project Appleseed in the States.
Or
no?
No. But I'm glad you got the question that way. Feel even worse.
So Project Appleseed is it's a 2-day program. It's to teach people the fundamentals of marksmanship and a little bit of American history. That program was stolen by a bunch of Canadians that I love, and they renamed it into Project Mapleseed. And it's because we don't have the history the Americans do, where the revolution and that kind of stuff. So, so what it is, it's fundamentals of marksmanship. So they recommend you need a sling in order to do that, so that you can learn to shoot with a sling, and it's how to shoot in prone, seated, kneeling, and standing. And make effective targets, make effective hits on targets. Maple Seed right now, I think for the most part, is all 22 long rifle at 25 meters. I guess that'd be 27.5 yards, I guess. 25 yards is how they do it down south anyways. So, but yeah, it's basically just fundamental marksmanship. So of a possible score of 250, I think you need to score a 210 in order to get your rifleman patch. So yeah. That's one of the things I do in my spare time is I help out with that program. I'm an instructor in training still with Project Mapleseed, so we'll see how that works out for me long term wise. But yeah, it's great because it's the whole goal of the program is to keep costs as cheap as possible. So it's not going to be like you're going to a CQB course where you're going to spend like $300 or $400 or $1,000 for a day of training. It's I think this year it's $75. For an entire day, and it's a long ass day by the time you're done, and you'll go through probably 300-400 rounds of rimfire ammo, and it's just a lot of fun.
It's a fun time.
So yeah.
I took my first course this last summer, and it was amazing. I've been shooting for years, and I learned a whole lot, and it was great. So I highly recommend you take it because
So Maple Seed, is it canceled right across the board, or is still suspended?
No, there are some events that are happening in June. There's still some scheduled in Saskatchewan in June, but if the province doesn't lift the social distancing guidelines or the group size guidelines, it could torpedo the events. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Rob, what's that like down in Illinois right now with the whole COVID mess?
Yes.
Again, not in a very good state. Yes. We actually just went down to Nashville to film the show, and they were opened up. So, we got to eat in a restaurant, and, people are still Yeah, we had a margarita in a Mexican restaurant, so life was good. But come back to Illinois, we probably got another 2 weeks minimum before they start opening stuff up. So they have actually opened up fishing, which was very nice because it was asinine to have that closed. But
no kidding.
Yeah, everything.
Talk about
at opposite ends of the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, you want a social distance, it's like go fishing. Like leave us the fuck alone. Right on. Well, let's do a quick little sponsor break here. Email us at info@gunningaround.com and tell us about your EM precision rifle builds. Videos of you or your shooting. Send us videos. We want to start showing those. So send us videos and any questions or comments you might have in regards to those builds or any prospective builds. I'm sure Shane and Steve, they're watching right now. They would love to hear from you too. So check them out, emprifles.com, I believe. I think is the email or the website. Or just hit us up. We'll get you in touch.
It's emprifles.ca. Yeah.
There you go. But we don't actually have any new builds to show you this week. So guys, send us your builds. Let's see them. Yeah. Show it off. You know, you spend good money on it. Let's show them off. So
is it EMP rifle or rifles.com?
Rifles.
Plural.
Okay. All right. I got it.
They're in the booming metropolis of Leduc, Alberta.
Yes.
So
I'll take your word for that.
There's a tone of sarcasm in my voice.
You know, technically, I think Leduc is more of a bedroom community to Edmonton now, I think, isn't it? It's going to soon be a suburb, I'm sure.
Well,
there's like you blink your eyes, you'll miss that farm field between Edmonton and Leduc, I think, at this point. So
yeah.
we were at Camrose this February. Camrose.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, why the hell are you in
Camrose town?
Those people are awesome there. We had a blast.
Yeah, great people. No, in fact, the company I work for, one of our combine specialists is based out of there. So, yeah. Anyway, we're not going to dive into that. But
we'll go your old job.
Blue, yellow, green, red, whatever. Blah blah blah.
You know what? I do miss. Okay, so we're talking. Like I'm good to talk about it. You know, they have a great product, Farmer's Edge, doing variable rate prescriptions and seeding, or no seeding, fertilizer. Their cam plugs and weather stations are great when they work. And yeah, yeah. No, there were some problems, but you know what? You know, I when I was working for them, I worked for them for a year and a bit. Got my nose into the ag world, and got to play with every color of equipment. So New Holland, John Deere, Kloss, everything, and it really opened my eyes to the amount of business that's out there, and the amount of good people that are out there as well. Because I looked after 2 million acres. Like, it was unreal. Wow. So yeah, it was, well, Southern Saskatchewan, Rob, it's intense. So
yeah.
But you know, and I got to meet a lot of great people that I'm friends with today. Shout out to, I'm going to give a shout out. Without Farmer's Edge, I wouldn't have met Tim Luke, who listens to the show. John, he's the guy who hooked us up with those old discs for building your lamp. You know, so shout out to him and guys like that, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today without Farmer's Edge. And, you know, Wade and Marina and, you know, all the guys there, they're phenomenal. So,
yeah, I do miss the people. I miss the people in the company were fantastic.
Yeah. So, Rob, this is a fun project. So, John is building a lamp out of this old Damascus shotgun.
Oh, that's okay. All right. I was, what the hell's on the end? It looks like
a socket control.
That's right. Put your finger in there. Anyways, this I couldn't help myself. I found this old busted ass shotgun, bulged barrel. It's in poor shape. You could never fire this thing without risking your life. So I was like, "What are you gonna do with that thing?" And the gun store owner says, "I don't know. I was just gonna sell it to the guy that makes coffee tables out of old shotguns." And I'm looking at this thing, and it's got my son's name on the side of the action. I said, "This thing's fucking going home with me." So, so this is going to be a floor lamp. If I ever get that buttstock reshaped to fit the disco wheel, we're laughing.
Well, and so
that's that. So.
John's like, what can I do for a base for that thing? And I'm like, why don't you put like a 10 or 12-inch disc on it? That would be perfect. And
and what shot? I'm like, perfect. That's awesome. And what I got was a 20-inch disc, which is a bit much for a shotgun lap base. But no, I'm just.
It will never fall over.
This is true.
Yeah. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, damn it.
That's right. But I definitely miss the people from Farmer's Edge, and it really opened my eyes up to a lot of the people in the ag industry, and really, Rob, not to suck your dick too hard, but it opened me up to you and what you're doing, and what a lot of other people are doing, like Jim Hale's on local radio all the time. Mm-hmm. Sean Haney and what he's doing. It's a great community, and there's a lot of tie over between the ag community and the firearm community. And
it really is. Yeah.
It really makes sense. And, especially in Canada where we're from, in Saskatchewan, the majority of the land is farmland. And, I've made a lot of good contacts, and, it's been phenomenal. So, and so shout out to Wade and Marina, if they're listening, which they probably aren't, but thank you.
This is all I've got on my show. When I do a shout out, that's all I've got is a ding. I'll give one to Wade Marina there. One for Double J.
That's an idea.
We don't have a sponsor for the easy button, so we're not there yet.
Yeah, we haven't quite hit the big time yet.
Right. Haven't approached Staples yet.
We don't have Shark Farmer numbers. Let's put it that way. Not yet, but we're coming for you, bud. Well, so should we start diving into some news, boys?
I think so.
Kurt, why don't you take this and run with it?
All right. FRT list updates, fact or fiction. Guess we'll find out. Well, I guess that's a little bit old, isn't it? We have OIC legal action tracker. And John, this is
this is a thread on Gun Nuts.
Right.
So Rob, Gun Nuts is our go-to forum for Canadian Gun Nuts with a Z.com. It's our go-to forum for anything gun related, right? So
if you head to the sub forum, or sort of the forum Essential Firearms Politics News, OIC Legal Action Tracker is the name of the thread, and it lists the legal actions that are currently being have been proposed or filed against the May 1st OIC. So there's one that has been filed, and two more have been announced. I do believe one is being the NFA backed legal action has been filed, and that's Solomon Friedman is the lead counsel on that one. What are the other ones, Kurt?
You got one from the CCFR. You got from Laura Warner and JSS Barristers. That's the one that we're putting on.
That's right. And then the other one is, I think, a private one, is it not?
Yeah, from the Shooting Edge in Calgary.
Right. Yeah.
Great
John Cox.
Taylor.
John Cox, right? And he's he was able to, I think John Cox was able to gather $60,000 in funds in the first 4 hours after announcing his lawsuit and putting up a GoFundMe. So, and he said any excess funds will be split equally among Canadians, the Canadian gun orgs. That'd be the NFA, the CSSA, and the CCFR. So, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, it's a lot of letters.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys. Help them out if you can. And help out the orgs too, which is probably a good transition into going into our CCFR ad.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Let's.
Okay, we're back.
Riveting radio.
Uncomfortable silence. Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome,
Rob. Maybe we can talk off air, and you can help me put the ad live on the live stream, because I don't know how to do that.
I don't think Rod actually does the editing. That's why he has teenagers at home.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Cool. But yeah, so check out those OIC actions. Help them out. If you can, help them out. I know times are tough right now with COVID and all that shit, but we got to get going, guys. This is the only way we can fight back.
Otherwise, we'll lose it forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to give you a heads up, when we say OIC, that means Order in Council, which is very similar to a presidential executive order.
Right.
Okay. And it's only used in wartime and banning guns. That's the only real time that
OIC. I was going to say, is it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks to Chrétien.
Jean Chrétien, you're talking out the side of your mouth, like this, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, like we said, guys, now more than ever, join or support our National Firearms Association, like the CCFR, the CSSA, the NFA. Between $40 and $45. It's good for the year. You get $5 million primary liability insurance with that. Wouldn't hurt. Actually, it wouldn't hurt. It would really help them if you bought a shirt, sticker, hat, donation, whatever the fuck you can. If you can't, hit us up. We'll see what we can do. Everything helps. And pick up, when you sign up for a membership, pick up the latest issue or a magazine subscription to High Capacity Magazine. Caliber Magazine comes with your CSSA prescription, or subscription, not prescription. Wow.
Whichever way you want to look at it.
But they're both great publications, highlighting all types of firearms. So check that out. Yeah.
Wait. So Luke Godin says you guys need to work on your French accent.
You do not tell me how to work. Oh, that's not a French accent.
I'll give you my French accent right now.
Hey, tabernacle.
That's about as French as it gets, buddy.
Luke, if you want us to take you seriously as a Frenchman, change your goddamn name to LUC, all right?
Yeah.
LUKE, you're just another guy. Just another damn white guy.
You got to put some stank on it when you say that, John.
Go back. Get a little at the end of it there. Oh my goodness.
Shout outs, boys. Who do we got?
Well, I'll go first. I had a very interesting encounter yesterday. I went to a small town just about 45 minutes out of the city here to look at a demolition job with my old man. I happened to run across this old guy, and honest to God, he's got to be about 80. He's 80 if he's a day. Mr. Ken Lepp is this guy's name, and we started talking, and it came out that this guy used to be a big bore pistol shooter and very, very active in metallic silhouette shooting. And of course, that conversation turned into about a 2-hour conversation. It was great. You know, that guy explained that he and his buddy were going to take the 22s out to a gravel pit here today sometime just to do some plinking. The guy is still active. Fantastic conversation with a great old guy. We're planning a shoot at my range this next weekend, and I plan to invite the old fella out, and like the stories are invaluable. The knowledge and the experiences, as far as I'm concerned, are invaluable. And I'm sure he'd be tickled to see what the young bucks are doing nowadays. Right. So that's my shout out. The old guy who's still active and has more knowledge than I'm sure that I'll ever have.
Sweet. John,
good deal. Oh, well, I think Jens, friend of the show, he ran a bunch of loads through me for a quick load, and he was very gracious when telling me that all my hand loads were like way over pressure. Yeah,
God hates a coward.
Well, you know, it's okay to be a little over, I figure, but like 3 to 4 grains, maybe not so much. Maybe that's why I kept losing primers. Anyways, and my obligatory shout out to my local pusher, which is TNT Gunworks. They've been tapping a vein with me since 1999, and good bunch of dudes over there. And I spent another $500 or $600 there this week, so I guess that's that. So
cool,
Sean. What do you got?
I'm going to give a shout out to Brant at TNT for keeping that show same local gun shop that you were mentioning, John. Brant is kind of the go-to there for me besides Daryl, and he hooked me up with that Lyman the Lyman auto charge there. So
how are you liking that thing? I saw on Instagram that you were using it this week. So
yeah, love it. I loaded up 50 rounds of 308 with those 147 grain Campros, in various charges with Varget, just to do some load development on it. So I actually printed off today some, sight-in targets from My Free Targets. Oh, wrong way. MyFreeTargets.com, like this. And then, Kurt, I'm going to have to hit you up next weekend, but I printed off some of these for load development. So
nice.
I know it's 8x11, but it'll do the job.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm going to do that probably tomorrow. We'll see, out of the old Mossberg, Mossberg MVP. And but yeah, without trying to measure powder I didn't have the proper tooling. I just had my Frankfurt Arsenal scale with the pan and with a teaspoon measuring cup, essentially to trickle powder. And I got that trickler from you, John, a while back, but just trying to get it the proper way. It took too much fucking time. And well, yeah, pretty much. And so I decided to take the plunge into this, and Brad hooked me up with that. So that was awesome. And like I said, I pounded out 100 charges in 20 minutes. Like it was. Yeah.
It'll change your life, man.
Oh, it's so
change
good.
Your life.
I know. I'm looking at my stack of brass here and my manual powder thrower and my beam scale, and I'm like, God damn it, this is tiring.
Yeah.
Old.
Hold off. I think I got.
I got the RCBS over here, and I'll tell you right now, that was the best money ever spent in the reload bench. I'll be honest with you.
When you can get accurate,
it's light years better than this RCBS press right here. I'll tell you that right now.
Like when you can get accurate to a 1/10 of a grain without fucking around, like that's awesome. It saved me hours. Like
that's the thing I think a lot of guys overlook is those automatic dispensers that if you do your load development right and you hit the middle of a node, you're either side of that node by 0.1 grains, like a 0.2 spread. You should still be okay within that, depending on your caliber. Of course.
Well, and for the price of the Lyman, I think I got it for what did I get it for, John?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
like cheap, like borscht, compared to a Hornady and a, which reminds me, I shout out to Ian at Canadian Patriot Podcast and Canadian Prepper Podcast. He gave me a hookup on that broken Hornady. Auto charge.
I'm not sure if that's a hookup, if it's broken.
Right. Or a burden dump.
Considering, okay.
I have a Bradley smoker in my shit I haven't used in 3 years, but I got for free because it was broken too.
Okay. So, Rob, I work for a company with a plant in Grand Island, Nebraska. Okay, let's put it that way. Yep. And Hornady is based in Grand Island, Nebraska. So when my buddy Ian posted that that he has a broken Hornady Auto Charge Plus or whatever the top model is for $50, I'm like, let's do it. And I don't care. I just bought it. And I said, I called Hornady and I said, hey, I got this broken one. It's off warranty or never registered. What can I do to get it fixed? They're like, well, you're in Canada, right? Yeah. Well, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to ship it. And I said, well, not necessarily, because I can just throw it on the truck in Regina and get it down there, no problem. And they said, yeah, no problem. You send it to us. We'll fix it to you. We'll see where it goes. So a $500 Canadian unit, which is like $20 American. But
true story.
Yeah, so yeah, that's going to happen. And so Kurt, you might be getting an auto thrower for whatever. So we'll see.
For just being awesome.
I would appreciate that. Yeah. And having a great fucking beard.
Yeah, that's great.
Humble.
What's that?
Do I get to give a shout out to somebody?
Yes, you do.
Damn right you do.
You're next, in fact.
I would like to give a shout out to Erin Hale. She's a wonderful woman. Unfortunately, she's married to a guy that's not so great, so I think she struggles a lot in life.
Who are you talking
Erin,
about? Jimmer is amazing. Jimmer is the shit. I love Jimmer. Cool. Well, boys, apologies to Wes Stevens once again. We ran out of time for you this week. I think next week's not looking good either.
Or the week after.
Sorry, Wes.
Yeah, it's tough. So
one of these days we'll take you off the list.
No.
List.
He's pretty adamant. He's on me like shit on Velcro, boys. Like, we got to get him on maybe one day. Maybe. I don't know, but I'm Ron Burgundy. That's 2 Ron Burgundy references.
That'll do, donkey.
I guess we should probably shout out CPP and the other CPP because Ian is a host on both those shows, I guess, eh?
And Slamfire for giving us a shout out last week. That was awesome.
Shout out to Trevor and Kelly and Adriel and that other Dave dude.
Shout out to Rob Sharkey for coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, buddy. It was nice to meet you.
Yes, we're definitely. If I get up there, we'll have a drink, but I can't drink Canadian beer. It's too strong.
That's okay. I'll give you all the Coors Light you want.
They do sell Corona here.
Hey. I'll take a Corona, hold the virus. Big shout out to John Johnston, who is a colleague of mine, and his band, the Dirt Road Scholars, for the kick-ass music, proprietary music he wrote just for the show. Shows how talented this boy is. Check him out. Dirt Road Scholars on Facebook. Yeah.
And how special we are.
That's right. Okay, boys.
All right.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Ciao.